the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Going back to what I was talking about in the open, too, there, it just seems like that couples, for whatever reason, aren't choosing to get married anymore, and alarming rates, I would say. And with that being the case, I mean, do you have any insight on why that would be, Father? I mean, what the people, the couples that you talk to, what are you hearing, or why do people not want to do that?
Well, first of all, in general, there's a lot of doctrinal ignorance, and it's not that simple. We'll just give them the facts. Well, facts don't change a mindset. When everyone, not literally, absolutely not literally, but when it seems like the great majority, because we priests get together and share war stories or pastoral stories, and even that, it's not surprising that 90% of the marriages you do in the Catholic Church, the couple have been cohabitating. Okay, those are the ones who get married.
Yeah.
There's loads of couples who are cohabitating who have no intention of getting married in the near future. All right, why is that happening? Well, first there's ignorance, and I want the Lord to give me some slack, so I'll give them. I think it's invincible by the very fact that everybody virtually is doing it. And then the parents laud it now. They say, well, she met a good guy. That's the trend today. Times have changed. They're mature. Hopefully they'll get married, and so they approve it. And, if there's a visit to their homes, especially if they're out of state or out of town, it's sort of a given that they'll share the same room. Bad. So that's one reason. The other reason is I think there is a crisis of commitment, especially on the part of guys. And a lot of that has to do with secular feminism. Why? Well, women and men are equal, but they're not distinct. And because of the consequences of the 60s revolution of sexual promiscuity, that one of the incentives to get married, I know it's not the most lofty incentive, is to have you fall in love. I mean, there's a bond, there's a physical one, there's an emotional one, and there's a tendency to stay with that one woman and then express that love in a marital or a sexual way. But now marriage is not the price tag for those kinds of bonds, those kinds of unions. And so because if you cohabitate, and in majority of the cases they split up, you don't have to pay the consequences of that kind of union, that kind of relationship. You can have it for free, as it were. Yeah. And no strings attached, no commitment. And when that's there, psychologically, you're not committed. And especially women realize that, but in desperation to have a boyfriend and to form a household eventually, they relent, they lower their standards. And I say this often, that my shoulders are metaphorically stained with women's tears who have been living with their boyfriend only to be rejected, and they feel they've been thrown in the garbage. I mean, they feel horrible, and and then I have to build them up because their self-esteem has gone down, and psychologically they feel like objects, and so you perpetuate the problem of cohabitation. It's once that wound is there, without struggle in the sacraments, it's very easy to continue doing that. And so that's a big reason. I think another one is that birth control mentality, where, as in times gone by, at least implicitly, marital union, sexual union was open to life. Now it's not. And so that has also obfuscated the meaning of marriage and a meaning of relationship between a man and a woman. So those are a number of factors. And then I say, lastly, the elephant in the room is just a colossal ignorance of Christianity and the change of culture. Then you have a pandemic. I mean, we will finish on a positive note, but you have a pandemic of pornography as well. The girls have the pandemic of social media, where they're in a surrealistic world trying to, compete in appearances, even though you have apps to improve your appearance. So there's a number of factors. But the good news is the young people are coming back, and once they come back, I wish I could say hordes, but more than usual, then they embrace these teachings of the church, and they see it. I mean, it's a question of, it's not just a blind faith. They see, wow, the value of all this, the teachings of the church on matrimony.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing I want to include, but I'll take a pause here, is that discipleship is key for a successful marriage. That on both parts. I mean, I'm becoming, as it were, more closed-minded, saying to people, listen, unless both of you are trying to follow Jesus Christ on some level, I can't vouch for this relationship. I can vouch for it if you both are, but because I seldom see dysfunction when they both are, but I do see a lot of dysfunction when they're not.
That was the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the Best of the Week is on the Relevant Radio app, free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.